Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another live stream on Retire Inspired. Retire Inspired. Hope everyone's doing good tonight. I'm doing pretty good. It's Sunday evening, and I hope everybody got a chance to go to church this morning. Get your worship on. Hello, Marty. Welcome to my live stream. I hope you're doing okay. How's everything there in Daleville? Good to see you on here. Well, today is the first live stream of 2025. Welcome 2025, everyone. Welcome, CG Anime Fan. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. I appreciate your support. Appreciate you being on my live streams. You're pretty consistent about being on here every time. And I appreciate you, CG. Well, today is the last day that I will be in Montgomery, Alabama for the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow, I will be hopping in Ethel. I hope you all had a chance to watch my no-build van build, where I was upgrading my my bed. I hope you had a chance to watch that. I built my bed up if you watched the video, you saw that. CJ says, I'm doing okay. Hope that everyone is doing well and feeling well. I do too. I hope everyone is doing well and feeling well. So, what's tonight's live stream going to be about? Welcome, Badlands Bandit. Good to see you on here tonight. Hope you're doing well tonight. Good to see you. Well, tonight I'm just kind of, going to be talking about my trip out to Quartzsite, Arizona, which I will be leaving, as I already mentioned, tomorrow. Welcome, Rat Stash. Thank you for the well wishes. I appreciate it. You saw my video? Okay, well, good. I hope everybody got a chance to see it and also see my failures. I made sure and leave the mistakes in there as well, so that you could see that it wasn't as easy as it always looks when people are building things on the YouTube videos. So that was my first time ever building anything like that. So it was kind of a learning experience. I was kind of learning as I went. But today I got in the van and I got to thinking about, what do I need to be prepared to go on my trip? Rat Stash, yes, it was bloopers. Yep, I had a couple of big fails there on building that platform bed. But I got to thinking about, what do I need to have for my trip? And so I turned my propane on. You notice that there was two propane tanks, two 20-gallon propane tanks in the van. And so I turned my propane on and I lit my buddy heater to, see how it would run. And it was just kind of flickering and not really running very well. So what I did was I switched it over to the other propane tank and turned that propane tank on and turned the buddy heater back on, and it was working just fine. So what that tells me is that one of my propane tanks is on E. So I need to go tomorrow before I get on the road, and I need to fill that propane tank. It holds 20 gallons. If you watch my video, you'll see that there's two propane tanks. They're sitting right beside each other, kind of in the middle of the van, in between the front seats. And that is the propane that I will be using for my trip. And honestly, in all actuality, I don't think I will actually need to refill that other propane tank, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it for good measure. Because last year, when I went on my trip in last January, when I went on my trip to Quartzsite, I didn't use even the whole thing of the 20-gallon propane the whole time I was gone, and I was gone about 3 weeks. So I think I'll have plenty of propane for my trip, even if I just had one. But I am going to have. I'm going to go ahead to the propane place tomorrow and make sure that they're both full and both have 20 gallons in them. I also have those small propane containers, the little green ones, and I'll be using those probably for my cooking. I've got two, actually, I've got three stoves. I don't know why I'm bringing three stoves, but I've got three stoves. I've got one that is a big Coleman stove, camping stove, and it opens up and it has like three burners on it. So it's a big stove, and I'll probably be using that for outdoor cooking while I'm gone. I bought two big old ribeye steaks when I went to the commissary this afternoon. Uh, the wife and I went to the commissary to get some groceries, so I could have groceries for my trip, but also she needed some groceries as well. So we got the groceries, and so I'll be loading those up into the van tomorrow. And there's a couple things I'm thinking about for the trip. Badlands Bandit mentioned that he would like for me to do a video of my preparations for the trip and what all I'm doing to get ready to go on the trip. So I'll probably be making a video tomorrow. It won't be an extremely long video, but I will just be popping my camera out, and like when I go to get my propane, I'll video him filling up the propane tank, and I'll also video filling up my refrigerator slash freezer. And the other thing, I have to fill that big 30-gallon water container that I have. It's a stainless steel, and it came from originally came from the American Red Cross. It has American Red Cross sticker on it, but I bought it at a thrift store, and I was able to get it for a really decent price. I paid like $50 for it. So I don't really know what something like that would be valued at, but for me, being able to carry that much water in such a small area, such a small space, it's going to really be nice to be able to have that with me this year when I make my trip. Now, I did take that with me when I went up to Pennsylvania to see Renee and Todd, and then to Chicago when I went to see my son Justin. So I did have that water container when I went on my last trip in October, and it worked out really nice. I didn't run out of water. As a matter of fact, when I got back to the house after my trip, I had to dump about half of the thing out. So that means I only used about 15 gallons of water in the 2 weeks that I was on the road. So that worked out pretty good. I was really happy with how that worked out too. So tomorrow I will need to get my clothes all packed up in the van. I will need to get my propane, my 20-gallon propane tank filled up. I'll need to fill up my refrigerator with all the groceries that I got today. I will need to, one thing, Badlands Bandit, you mentioned that I had a diesel. Yes, I have a diesel because you noticed that I had the Blue Def in my video. So that I will have to put some Blue Def in there just to make sure that the Blue Def is full, because for some reason, Sprinter didn't see fit to put a gauge on the Blue Def, so I would be able to know exactly how much is in there. So I have to just fill it up when what I normally do is I run about 2 or 3 tanks out, 2 or 3 tanks of fuel out, and then and put some in there, and it usually takes about a whole box of that in order to get out to, like, say, the desert and back. So I'll probably use that Blue Def I have that is in that box. I'll probably use that whole box while I'm gone. Wanted to share with you a couple of items that I picked up here recently. So I didn't pick these up. I didn't buy these to resell. I kind of bought them because they have nostalgia for me. Have any of you ever seen one of these? This is an Uncle Sam bank, but this one, the ones that you normally see are made out of metal. And when you push the button, you know, his hand goes down, the bank opens, and it drops the coin inside the bank. When we were kids, our parents I have 3 brothers, or I had 3 brothers. One passed away, so now I have 2 brothers. But the 2 brothers that I have, one is a year older than me, and one is a year younger than me. And we had these banks. All 3 of us got one of these plastic Uncle Sam banks. And it's made to look like the metal ones, but they're a little bit smaller and they're not as durable. So it's made out of plastic instead of metal. So, you know, you can imagine, you know, kids messing with this all the time. If it's made out of plastic, it's just not going to last as long. So I picked that up because it's kind of nostalgic for me. I had one of these as a kid, and I got this about maybe 3 weeks ago. And I'll show you one of the metal ones so that you'll know how much different they are. Hold on just a second. So did any of you have one of these Uncle Sam banks or knew someone that had one? Anyway, this is the metal Uncle Sam bank. It is pretty heavy. I think it's made out of cast iron. And it seems to be a little bit more efficient too. I have 2 of these. I have one that's listed in my eBay store, and I have one that I just got for myself before I found the plastic one that was like the one I had as a kid. So this one is like the one I had as a kid, except it's made out of metal. And here's the plastic one next to the metal one. So you can see that they're quite a bit different in size, but they're the same kind of bank. They have the eagle in the front. Uncle Sam is what it says there. See, that one has the same eagle in the front, and it says bank on the side. And that one says bank on the side. But this one is plastic, and this one is metal. So I don't know why they got us the plastic ones. Maybe the metal ones weren't available, or maybe they were just a little less expensive. So that's the one of the things that I picked up because it had some nostalgia. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I picked up something else, another type of bank that I was given as a child, the same type of bank, but not the exact same one. And if my brothers watch this, they'll recognize both this one and the one I'm about to show you. But this is another type of bank that we each got as children. And you put the money in here, right in this slot, and the window tells you how much money has been put in. So we each one of us had one of these as well. And this says Uncle Sam's Register Bank as well. So I guess this is the newer Uncle Sam's Bank. But this is vintage. I know this is vintage because it is exactly like the one that I had as a child. But anyway, I picked this up over the weekend for $33, and I didn't buy this to resell it. I bought it so that I could keep it because of the nostalgia. But you put the money in this little coin slot here. You pull it down, and it tells you how much money you got in there. So there's a little jiggling around in here, so that tells me that it says it's got 35 cents inside the bank. But I guess that helps you keep up with how much money you have. Now, the only thing about this bank is if you ever need to get your money back, you basically have to take the bottom off the bank. You have to remove it. And I don't even know how you would get the bottom off of it without destroying the bank. But it says it holds $50 worth of coins. Let me see. I got to put my glasses on in order to read this. It says it holds $50. It opens every 10 registers, every $10. So, okay, now I know how you get your money out. When you get $10 in here, I guess this flap right here opens up and you can get your money out after $10. It only takes nickels, dimes, and quarters, no pennies. Only takes, let's see. Insert one coin at a time, pull lever all the way down and let it snap back. Banks lock at 25 cents will not reopen until $10 is deposited. When the dial reads 0-00. To remove contents, press the bottom drawer inward. Do not oil. So this is made by a company called Western Stamping Corporation out of Jackson, Mississippi. So I guess you don't have to tear the bank up in order to get your money. You just have to put in $10. And I guess that is so that you can start saving money. Once you get $10, you can get that out, take it to the bank, deposit it, then start over again. So that's two things that I wanted to share with you guys that are kind of nostalgic for me. Remind me of my childhood because I had both of these as a child, and I had them in my room. Now, as far as the originals that I had as a child, I have no idea where those went or where they are now. So, but anyway, I haven't seen one of these since I was a child, so I figured I would go ahead and get it and just keep it for the nostalgia of it. So, is there anything you guys want to ask? Do you have any questions or any comments about the trip? Did you like the video that I did with the platform bed where I built it up? Now, one thing that I have on the platform bed, I've got my refrigerator and my solar generator underneath there. So I'll probably have to pull the solar generator out to closer to the door when I'm parked, when I'm charging with using my solar cells. So that's the only thing that's not good about that. I'll have to move the solar generator a little bit, in order to hook it up to the cords when I have my solar cells out. But I think that'll work out okay. I don't think it's going to be a big deal because now I have plenty of room in the front of the van where I can move stuff around. So that's real good. Badlands Bandit says nostalgia is great, and Rat Stash says neat bank. And Rat Stash says I saw you're bringing the blanket. We got you. Yeah. They gave me a really soft blanket. It's a brown color. It's really nice, and I'm going to put that directly under me when I sleep. I have a sleeping bag that I bring with me that I got issued to me when I was in the military. You may have seen that in the video as well. It's that green thing that I had in there. It's actually it's a sleeping bag that I was issued when I went on my last deployment before I retired from the Air Force, we went to Kyrgyzstan and it was cold there, so we had to have cold weather gear. But so I'm going to have the brown, really soft blanket that Renee and Todd gave me that's going to be underneath. And then I'm going to have that on top of me, and it's rated for like 20 degrees below. So when I'm inside the sleeping bag, I really don't need any heat in the van. It's just when I come out of the sleeping bag that I have to turn my heat on to warm up and get the inside of the van warm. And I'm assuming that's Renee. She says she's laying in hers too, and it's cold there tonight. Now, they just put out a video today, I think it was, where they went, where Renee went shopping at one of her favorite thrift stores there in Pennsylvania. So be sure and tune into Rat's Stash and watch her latest video, or their latest video that she just put out. That was a really good one. She ran into some of her viewers there at the thrift store, and she missed a really nice item. I know she's probably kicking herself when she went back and watched that video when she was editing it, that she forgot to get that. So, hey, Chuck, welcome. Good to see you on here. Chuck, I am so excited about my trip out to Arizona and going out to see the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous this year. Chuck and I met up with each other last year at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and Chuck has a YouTube channel as well. I think he's up to about 5,000 subscribers now, but he is not a full-time van dweller, but he's kind of like me. He gets in his van, he goes on trips to areas like Quartzsite when they have the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and I guess he goes in different areas as well with his van, just to have a nice little camping trip. It's a lot of fun to camp in your van. But Chuck and I met last January at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and we both had our folding chairs, and we just kind of sat down close to each other and started a conversation. And when we were there at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, there was also a young lady who was there very close to where we were sitting, and she also was sitting there in her folding chair and waiting for the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous to start. And after the thing was over, Chuck made a really interesting video that got me thinking about the whole van life thing and people who live in their vehicles. And some people are full time, in their vehicles. And this young lady was full time in her vehicle, but it wasn't out of choice. And I thought that was very interesting that Chuck made a video about how some people are, living out of their vehicles not by choice but because of necessity, while others, and he didn't mention me by name, but he was talking about me. We're just using it as an adventure, like a camping trip, and just having a good time. So he just elaborated on how interesting that was, that there's different types of people that are living in their vehicles. Some of them are short term, some of them are long term, some of them are doing it because that's what they prefer, and some of them are doing that out of necessity. And yep, you missed the fairy lamp. But it wasn't a real fancy fairy lamp, so don't feel too bad about it. And you were distracted anyway, so it's okay. There'll be plenty of other things that you'll miss, and I will miss as well. So I'm constantly looking, when I take my camera out to where I'm picking and stuff like that, then I find things that I video in my camera that I didn't even see when I was walking through. But a lot of times I'll walk through 2 or 3 times in order to find stuff that I need to buy. So the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous actually starts on January the 11th, but It is the first 3 days of it are for the women. They call it the women's WRTR, the Women's Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and then everyone else is participates after the 11th, and I think it goes from the 11th to the 4 or 5 days. I'm not sure exactly, but I think around the 16th is when it ends. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe Chuck could elaborate on that, but I will be there for the entire time that the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous is going on, and I hope to see some people there that I know, other than Chuck. I hope I will see Chuck. I do plan on seeing Chuck. Maybe we'll get a chance to camp together while we're out there in the desert. Always good to camp with friends, and so last year I made friends when I was camping. And if you watched my video about the guy that was living in the ambulance and did the build out of the ambulance, um, he was parked right across from me. I was on the BLM land, which is Bureau of Land Management. You can stay out there on the BLM land for as long as 2 weeks for free, and then you have to move to a different location. But I'm not going to be out there more than 2 weeks anyway. I'm not going to be out there more than a week. But just in case you ever are interested in going out to there for the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and it is the 11th through the 16th, according to Chuck. So if you're interested in going out there, that's where most people stay, is out there at the there's a Pomosa. I can't remember the names of all the different places that there are. Uh, La Posa, is it La Posa South? And there's some that you can pay for too that are longer term, where you can stay longer. I think you can pay $40 for and stay out there for like 30 days, or you can pay $200, I think it is, for 6 months. I'm not sure exactly. For anyone who's going to be staying in their van full time, that would work. But for someone like me who just jumps in their vehicle to take vacations, that would not be very feasible for me to do that. But anyway, I am getting all my ducks in a row, getting everything together to make sure that the trip goes on without a hitch and that there are no issues. I do plan on bringing two sirloin steaks that I bought today at the commissary. I'll be cooking those while I'm out there at the desert. I did that last year. I brought steaks out there and I cooked on my Coleman stove and really enjoyed that. But I was talking earlier about the different kind of stoves that I have. I have that Coleman stove, and then I have a smaller stove that is it's more like it's a single burner, but it hooks up onto the propane, and then there's the propane acts as the stand for the stove, and it sits on a platform there. So I cooked on that a couple of times when I made my trip last January, and I might cook on it a little bit now just because while I'm on my trip, just because it's so convenient and easy to use. Whereas like say if I'm cooking inside the van, it's easier to use that than to try to use the Coleman stove, because the Coleman stove is kind of big, takes up a lot of room. So I'll be using that when I'm cooking outside, and probably using the smaller one when I'm cooking, if I'm doing any cooking or heating anything up on the inside. So that's what I'll be using to cook with. I will have some pots and some pans, and I'll be carrying one bowl for my cereal. I'll have milk and cereal for breakfast, and I also will probably cook bacon and eggs a couple of days, maybe. I'll be bringing some Kaneka sausage and some bacon and some eggs with me, so I'll be able to do that. I also have my coffee maker that I'll be bringing with me, and I'll be able to make my coffee every day. That's one thing when I was up there at Renee and Todd's house. I had my coffee maker in my van, and so I'd make my own coffee in my van before I'd even go into their house because I was staying in the van, even though they invited me inside the house, which was very kind of them. They even set up a room, which was also very kind, and I was very thankful. But I just, I enjoy staying in the van, so I told them I'd prefer to stay in the van, and I'd come in and have my coffee, and we would have breakfast. They did cook a really wonderful breakfast every day, and it was really nice to have that nice breakfast. That's one thing that I'm gonna miss. Where when I took my trip to Pennsylvania, I had regular access to showers and regular access to a kitchen for breakfast every day. But did y'all hear that? I just sold something. Oh, okay. Someone just bought a power wheelchair lift from my eBay account for $585. That thing has been sitting in my um, store for quite some time, but he's going to have to wait for 3 weeks to pick it up. So anyway, um, he should have just waited to buy it until after I came back, but that's okay. I guess he wanted to make sure it didn't get away. So I'll have also bought this plate thing that's also a storage container. It's got a plate, and then you can close it up and make it into a storage container. So I'll be using that while I'm on the road. I'll bring a couple of sets of silverware, a couple of forks and knives and spoons, and I also, have a real sharp knife that I'll be bringing with me. What I'm trying to think, what else? Of course, I have cooking utensils like big spoons and uh, spatulas and that sort of thing. So I'll be able to cook while I'm on the road. I don't want to, put too much stuff in the van. I want to try to keep it down to the bare minimum. But at the same time, I want to be able to have everything I need to be able to cook and take care of all my um, needs while I'm out there. Let's see, what else do I need? Oh, I got some baby wipes while I was at the store tonight at the commissary. So I have those baby wipes to kind of get me by in between showers so I can freshen up and make sure I'm not smelling. Of course, nobody's going to have to smell me but myself. So, so it's not quite as big a deal. But once I get out there, I'll be around other people. So I don't want to be smelling bad. But the first stop I plan on making once I get on the road tomorrow, I'll be leaving about probably 1, maybe 2 o'clock. And the first stop I plan on making, I'm going to go out to Oxford, Mississippi. Mississippi is on my way out there, so it won't be too much of a detour for me to stop in Oxford. And I'm going to visit my friend who you see on here sometimes. His YouTube channel is called Gumball Gold. And I'll make a few videos with him about his gumball business, because he has a lot of gumball machines that he puts around the city of Oxford. And Oxford is not a huge town. It's a kind of a small place, but he said he has enough places where he can put his gumball machines out, and he's making over $1,000 a month on those gumballs, which I was really impressed with that when I heard that. And he has the MAGA, Make American Gumballs Great Again. It's MAGGA. So maybe he'll be on here tonight. I hope so. If not, Jim, if you're watching this afterwards, I will see you on tomorrow when I get into the city of Oxford. Yep, it is the home of the University of Mississippi. So that's what I was going to say is a lot of the folks in Oxford are college students. So they must chew a lot of gum, and there must be a real need to have chewing gum there. But maybe I will get little tour of the town. I told him I wanted to visit a couple of the better eating establishments there in Oxford. So I will definitely be making videos about a video about one of those places when we go to eat. And I'll be spending tomorrow night in Oxford, and then Jim and I will be spending time Tuesday, which is the 7th, and I'll spend the night on 7th in Mississippi, and then I will head out on Wednesday, the 8th. I'll be leaving Mississippi and continuing my journey westward on to onto Arizona. So I'm not going to try to rush the trip. I'm going to try to make it an enjoyable and pleasurable drive. So I don't want to try to drive, 10 hours every day. I don't think it's going to be necessary. Like I said, it starts on the 11th. So if I can get there by the night of the 10th, then, I'll be able to sleep there in Quartzsite on the BLM land. And now that I know where everything is, since I went last year, I know how to get to the BLM land, and I know how to get to the area where they're having the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. And maybe I'll get a chance to see Bob Wells again. He is supposed to be there. See, he's the person I mentioned in my last live stream. Bob is the person who has the YouTube channel called Cheap RV Living. And so he is the founder of the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, also called the RTR. And this is the 15th annual. I think he said in his last video, this will be the 15th gathering of nomads at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous there in Quartzsite. And it'll be my second time to be there. So I'm, like I said, already, I'm really looking forward to getting out there and spending some time. One thing that I want to do after, I'm taking 3 weeks. I'm putting my eBay store on vacation mode for 3 weeks. So anything over 2 weeks, the store will not show up anymore. So it's basically the store is you can't see it after 3 weeks. So I will be putting it on vacation mode for 3 weeks. So it will be on vacation mode all the way to the end of the February. So I am planning on being out on the road for 3 weeks. Bob Wells just purchased a 2025 Subaru he is living in now. That's right, he did. And he is not raffling off, but he's giving away his ambulance. If you've ever seen his ambulance, he made a lot of videos using, the ambulance, and he was living in the ambulance, but he's giving that away, this RTR, to someone. All you have to do is register. And I don't know if Chuck's going to register, but I'm going to see if there's any way I can register. So I will be registering to see if I can win that ambulance. That would be really cool to be able to have Bob Wells' ambulance and get it back to Alabama. Of course, I don't know how I'd get it back to Alabama. Maybe I would have to leave it there and then drive home and then fly back out and get it. So Chuck says this is his 4th RTR, and he already gave it away. Is that what you're saying? He already gave the ambulance away? Did I miss it? Oh no. I hope he didn't already give it away. I was going to try to register for that giveaway. So it already has its new owner. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I missed out. But I hope that whoever got it is able to use it and is in need of that. As I mentioned in my last live stream last week, Bob and Suzanne, I can't remember Suzanne's last name, but they have this thing called HOWA, and it's called Homes on Wheels Alliance, where they take donations and they collect money, and they assist people who are in need that are in the nomad community. that are living in their vehicles full time. Sometimes, it might be an elderly person that their engine blew up on them and they don't have the funds to repair the engine, or maybe they need a bigger vehicle and the one that they have is just breaking down all the time, and they need something that's going to be more suitable for them to be able to live in that nomadic lifestyle. But getting back to Bob and his 2025 Subaru, I saw that video and I'm sorry, I could not live in a vehicle that I have to crawl on my hands and knees in order to get in and get out. But he seems to be very pleased with that. He seems to be the kind of person that prefers to be a minimalist and to downsize. And I guess for him, it works out better to be in a vehicle versus what he was in, which was an ambulance where he could stand up and walk around. For me, that I just wouldn't want to do that, because for one thing, when you have inclement weather like rain or snow or anything going on where you can't go outside, I don't know how you would be able to cook and take care of, like if you have like an outdoor kitchen, how are you able to cook and do that sort of thing when you're stuck inside a Subaru that you can't even stand up in? That would drive me crazy to be in a vehicle like that with when you have bad weather, and rather, versus a vehicle that you can stand up in, move around in, and, get around, and like I can make my bed inside my van without having to get on my knees to do it. I don't understand why anyone would want to do that. But, different strokes for different folks, and I'm not judging. So if that's what he wants, then, more power to him. But I'm like Chuck, I like being able to stand up. I have been in Chuck's van, and Chuck's got a pretty great setup. I really like the setup that you have, Chuck. He has his bed long ways because he is a taller person, so it allows him to, lay down and spread out and be comfortable. Kind of like me with my Sprinter van. If I were to turn it sideways, I wouldn't have enough room to spread out completely, so I had to put my bed long ways in my van as well. But his van, even though it doesn't look like it's bigger than mine, it seems like he has more space in his van, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing wrong that I could do differently in order to improve my space, but probably would be to build some more cabinet space on the side that I'm not using with the bed, and have, a better storage system where I can stack things on top of each other. That would give me a little bit more room, I think, anyway. So, as time goes on, my no build is going to turn into a build. But in the meantime, the reason it is a no build is because I am trying to decide how I want things, and how I want things to look inside the van. Where do I want my bed? Where do I want my area that I'm going to be cooking in? Where do I want the area that I'm going to be storing my clothes and my pots and pans and all my dishes and all that good stuff? So it's kind of a developing thing, and probably next year when I get ready for the 2026 Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, then I will be able to maybe build my van out just a little bit more and make it more permanent. Build some. Uh, what I want to do, and this is kind of where I'm going in the future as far as my van goes, is I want to make it so that I can fold my bed up into the side of the van, and I also want to be able to fold a table down on the other side that I can, use for meal prep and cooking and washing dishes and, whatever else I need to do. Gumball Gold says, "Hotty toddy, Sam, and everyone. I was just talking about you earlier, Jim, and I was telling everybody that you and I will get to meet each other in person tomorrow evening because I will be making my first stop in Oxford, Mississippi. And Jim has assured me that he is going to show me the town, and I'm going to get to ride in his Corvette. He has a really nice Corvette. Very nice Corvette. So I'll be riding in his Corvette, riding in style. We're going to find a really good barbecue place, and I'm going to make a good video about it. So you guys will get to see that when I get back, or maybe maybe I will be able to produce some videos while I'm on the road. But I'm not going to make any promises because my Wi-Fi that I have, the Wi-Fi that I have it works with my it's I have a hotspot on my phone that I can use on my Apple computer, but I can't use it on my Windows computer. It doesn't work on my Windows computer. So I use the Windows computer to edit all my videos when I make videos. So I don't know if I will be able to have access to Wi-Fi while I'm there to be able to edit and produce videos. I'll be able to edit videos, no problem. But as far as producing them well, I can produce them as well, but as far as publishing them on YouTube, I may not be able to, I may not be able to publish them while I'm on the road, but I'll see. I know that the library has free public Wi-Fi, but so does everybody else that's in Quartzsite. They know that as well. And so I imagine it's going to be hard to get on the public Wi-Fi there at the library unless I do it early in the morning or late at night. I've heard it's possible to go out there in the late at night or very early in the morning and be able to get on the Wi-Fi and not have any issues. So we'll see. And if Chuck has any ideas about other means of where I can access Wi-Fi while I'm in Quartzsite, I am all ears. Yep, you will have to go back and watch, Jim. You'll have to go back and watch. And everybody else that is watching this video now, go back and watch it again. Because that'll help me get watched hours, right? But yeah, Chuck says the library Wi-Fi is pretty good. So maybe I can get out there and use that while I'm there. But it's like I was saying, Chuck, everybody else that is, all 6,000 or 7,000 other people that are out there know that there is public Wi-Fi at the library and they will be using it as well. So it may be a little difficult to get on there. But I know a lot of people who are full-time van lifers or full-time on the road. They use Starlink, and I just can't justify getting Starlink just for the short amount of time that I'm on the road. It just doesn't make sense for the expense that it would be. Now, if I was full-time on the road, which I won't be, and there will be, I could probably I would definitely be able to justify getting the Starlink, and I would probably get it because if you're going to be out all over in the nomadic community, if you're going to be driving all over the United States, you're going to really need to have Starlink or something where you can access Wi-Fi. So far, well, last year when I went to Quartzsite, I just used my cell phone, used my hotspot, and it worked very well. I didn't have any issues with being able to access the internet. But like I said, I do all my producing of my videos on this computer, and I can't get on the hotspot that I have on my Apple phone on this because it's Microsoft. It's just not compatible. But that's okay. I'm sure I'll be able to figure out something. And I will, just for those of you who are wondering, I do plan on having my live streams while I'm on the road, even in Quartzsite. Even if I'm not in Quartzsite, if I'm traveling and on my way from one location to the other, I plan on using or having a live stream on Sunday night. So next Sunday at 7:30, I will be having a live stream, or I plan on having a live stream. Be sure and look for my thumbnail on my live. That's the indicator. If you ever have a question about whether or not I'm going to be doing a live stream, if you don't see that on there, then that means I'm not having a live stream. But if you see, like my thumbnail this morning, it said first live of 2025, then you knew I was having a live stream tonight. But after I leave Quartzsite, see, this is the 11th through the 16th, according to Chuck. When the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous is over, I plan on going to Tombstone, Arizona. And I may, depending on the weather, go to the Grand Canyon. I haven't decided yet. I tried to go to the Grand Canyon last year, and that was a huge mistake because I didn't check the weather forecast. And I drove up, got all the way to the Grand Canyon. I got to the place. I was there, and I was in the McDonald's parking lot there where the Grand Canyon is, with plans of getting up the next day and going to see the Grand Canyon. And I was told inside the McDonald's that they were expecting about 4 inches of snow the next day. So as soon as I heard that, and I went on to the weather forecast to verify that that was actually the case, I got a little bit nervous. So I didn't want to be stuck up there. I didn't have snow tires. I didn't have chains. I didn't have anything for maneuvering in the snow. If it snowed up there and I was in the McDonald's parking lot, then I would have just had to stay in the McDonald's parking lot for however many days it was going to snow. But but I hightailed it out of there, and it was already like 8 or 9 o'clock at night when I found this out, and I hightailed it out of there and started heading south to get out of the snow. And I was able to get out of the snow, but I was driving till probably about 2 or 3 in the morning before I got to a place where I knew that I wouldn't get snowed in. But that was a lesson learned. and this year I'm going to be checking the weather forecast and making sure that I don't end up in an area that is not going to be somewhere where I can get around in. But if it is going to be decent during the time that I'm there and I can catch a few days in at the Grand Canyon where there's not going to be any snow and the weather's going to be decent, I might head up there. I definitely want to go to Tombstone and see Tombstone while I'm there. There's a couple places I want to go while I'm in Quartzsite. There's Al's Pizza, I've heard, is really good, so I'll probably go to Al's Pizza and get some pizza at least one time while I'm there. Now, I brought most of my groceries, so me eating out is going to be a very rare thing while I'm on the road. But I do want to try Silly Al's is what it's called, Silly Al's Pizza. I want to try that, and I want to go to a place called Beer Bellies. Not for the beer, because I'm not a drinker. I don't drink beer. Don't even like the taste of it, even if I did drink it. But there's a place called Beer Bellies, and I understand they have really good hamburgers there, and they're very inexpensive unless they've gone up. So I will be going to Silly Al's for pizza. Maybe Chuck, if you and I are able to meet up while we're there, maybe we could go together to Silly Al's and get some pizza. But I definitely want to try Beer Bellies and see if they still have that hamburger. I understand their hamburgers are really good. So, so I will be trying those hamburgers out. And so that'll be at least 2 times. Chuck says Silly Al's is great. And Jim says beer tastes like a yeast infection. Okay, I don't know if I've ever tasted a yeast infection. I hope you haven't. But anyway, yeah, beer does have yeast in it, I think. Hops. Anyway, I don't like the taste of beer. Never have. The only time I ever drank it was not for the purpose of enjoying the taste of it, if you know what I mean. So, so I'm just gonna enjoy Quartzsite while I'm out there. I'm gonna relax. Hopefully, I'll get invited to some events that they'll be having there. Last year, I got a chance to go to an event that was being held there locally, where just a bunch of people got together, and they had some music, and they had everybody brought a dish. I brought spaghetti that I cooked, and so we all kind of shared the food and had a communal feast. It was really good, and enjoyed the music from the guy that performed at. He was a country singer, and his name is it's escaping me right now. Can't think of his name, but the guy that performed is country singer, and he came out to this little gathering that we had in the desert and played his guitar. And the opening song that you hear on my videos every time you watch a video of mine, that is actually from that gathering. There was a couple there, and that was a song that they wrote. So I talked to them. I told them I wanted to use it, and they said that it wouldn't be no problem. So I've been using it for my intro on all my videos ever since then, and I will continue to use it unless I find something that I like better. But anyway, I am looking forward to getting out there and spending time with other folks, getting to meet new folks. And if you're watching this uh, after the fact and you are headed out to Quartzsite, or you're going to Quartzsite um, for the 2025 Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, hope I get to see you there, and we can get to know each other and spend some time together, and just enjoy the time. I will be relaxing. I'm going to just take my time. Uh, Last year, I was getting up real early and heading out there to be at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous when it opened, when they first opened the gates. I was one of the first ones that got in there and parked, and I won't be doing that this year. I may be sleeping in a little bit this year and just taking my time and enjoying it a little bit more. Uh, so, so yeah, that's what the whole thing is about. It's about just enjoying the time camping and meeting people, meeting new people, and visiting and just sharing time together. And then I get that all out of my system, and I'll jump back in my vehicle and drive back to Alabama and get back to my eBay business. Of course, when I came back last January, my store had been shut down for 3 weeks, like it will be effective midnight tonight. My store will be completely shut down. You won't even be able to see it. So it was kind of dead. When I got back, I wasn't getting any sales on eBay, not one. So the store was dead, and it was dead for about a week. And so I'm expecting it'll probably be the same way when I come back this year. It'll probably be pretty dead, and I'll just have to, get back into the listing every day, the at least 5 items a day, and what they call waking your store up. So I'll be waking my store up when I come back and getting it back to business. But anyway, what do you guys want to talk about? We've got a couple more minutes before I reach my hour mark. Is there anything that you guys want to ask, or you want to talk about, or you just want to mention? Gumball Gold says, gumball machines keep working for you when you are away. That's true. But if they fill up really, if you have a lot of people buying gumballs or whatever it is you're selling out of the gumball machines while you're away, how long does it take to empty the machine? Do you have an average amount of time that it takes for the machine to empty out, or is it pretty consistent? Does it depend on the location? I imagine some locations you probably have quicker sales than others. That's interesting. I never thought about selling gumballs because his gumballs are 50 cents a piece, but when I was growing up, gumballs were like a quarter a piece, or I think it was 10 cents a piece when I was buying gumballs. But it just didn't seem like it would be a really viable way to make a good living. But according to Jim, you can make a lot of money selling gumballs. He changed his mechanisms, so he has 50-cent mechanisms. So every time you want a gumball out of one of his machines, you're going to pay 50 cents for it. So he's making a little bit more than the folks that sold me gumballs was making. But that was back in the 70s and 80s. So that's inflation for you. So I'm really glad to have Chuck on here tonight. Chuck hadn't been on my live streams in a while. I think it's been probably 8 or 9 months, maybe 10 months since Chuck has been on one of my live streams. But I'm really looking forward to seeing you out there in Arizona, Chuck, and spending some time with you. And if you don't mind, I would really love to do a video on do a van tour of your van and do a video, if that would be possible. Let me know if that's something that you would be willing to do. I would really like to do that because you've got a really nice van build and setup. And Jim says he'll teach me all about it and let me collect from some machines. And I'll be making a video about that too. I'll be featuring gumballs on on my videos. Yep. Likewise. Yeah. Okay, great. I would love to make a video. And one thing I like about your van, Chuck, is that it's an older van, so it's kind of got a little nostalgic. I really like how that looks. And Chuck is a believer in the what do you call them? People that live out in the woods. Chuck. I can't think of it. The big hairy guy. Anyway, Chuck talks a lot about the people. Well, y'all know what I'm talking about. Sasquatch. Chuck believes in Sasquatch, and he says that he has talked to Sasquatch in his area, and that they have communicated. Yeah, Bigfoot, and they have communicated with him. I would love to be able to have that experience. I've never had that experience. I've always been told that was a urban legend, but it's not something I really believed that was true until I started listening to Chuck talk about the Bigfoot and the Sasquatch that he has had communications with. So he is not a believer; he is a knower. So, and Chuck is a real smart guy. He is above average intelligence, and if he says that he has communicated with Bigfoot, and I believe it, I have no reason not to believe it. He's a smart guy, and he's very sane and well versed. Jim says, "Does Bigfoot like gumballs?" You know what? That'd be a good question to ask Chuck. But Chuck will probably tell you that they probably have never been exposed to gumballs because they are not living in the cities, and so they wouldn't know what a gumball is. But anyway, if there is some way that I could have some kind of experience while I'm out there in the desert with you, Chuck, I would love to see if I could do that, communicate with um, Bigfoot. When I met Chuck, I did go into his van and he kind of showed me around in his van, and I noticed that he has several things in his van about with Bigfoot on it, but I didn't realize until he made a couple of videos that I watched how much he was really into um, the communication part of it. And apparently there are a lot of people who have had communication with different Sasquatch in different areas of the country, and they have contacted Chuck and let him know about their communications. And Chuck says they don't carry coins for their the machines. Yeah, they wouldn't have any way. I guess they could break the machine and get the gumballs out, but they don't have any coin. They don't have pockets to put coins in, do they? So yeah, that would be interesting though. If if you could give a Bigfoot gumball and see what they do with it. Uh, so Jim says he wouldn't charge a Bigfoot for a chance to talk with them. So you just bring a whole bag of gumballs out to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and we'll make sure and get some out to the Bigfoot. Or I tell you what, since I'm going to be with you tomorrow, Jim, let me get a bag full of gumballs and take them out to Chuck, and then he can take them and give them to the Bigfoot and see if they like them. We'll explore that as an option, but they don't have any coins, so you'll have to donate. It'll have to be something that you do out of the goodness of your heart, Jim. So I have gone over an hour now on my live stream, and I don't know how I was able to talk for an hour, but I'm just so excited about my trip out to Quartzsite to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous this year. I'm really looking forward to it, and like I said, looking forward to seeing my good friends that I met last year, if they're still there, and Chuck, of course. Chuck says that their young ones like powdered sugar donuts, and just curious, how do you know that? How do you know that, Chuck? Did you take them some powdered sugar donuts? Just curious about that. Um, Last year, it was a lot different than it's going to be this year as far as my trip goes, because last year I had my cot, and I also had another set of shelves in my van that I have not since removed. Now I have a lot of extra room in the van. My bed is not permanently set up, but it is set up now, so I don't have to take it off the wall. It was strapped to the wall the cot was strapped to the wall with some bungee cords, and I had to take it down every time I needed to go to, and every time I went to sleep, and then I had to put it back up whenever I got up in the morning. So there was a lot of, work in order to get from getting up to being where I needed to be. So it was a lot of work. This year, I'm just going to be able to go back there, lay down, go to bed. I'll be able to fix my meals right there, no problem. And it's just going to be a whole lot easier. And I think every year that I do this, it's going to get easier and easier. So Chuck says when I asked about if he gave him the powdered sugar donuts, he said many times. And Jim says it'll be 33 degrees here tomorrow night, so you'll have to bring your bed into the spare bedroom. Nope, I'm not going to need it. I've been in my van in below 20-degree temperature. I've been in my van in 18, 15-degree temperatures. So I will be fine. I'll be perfectly fine in my van in 33-degree temperature. It's not going to be a problem at all because I've got my, like I said, I have well, you missed the earlier part, but I have a sleeping bag that is rated for 20 degrees below zero. So I can get in that sleeping bag. I don't even need to have a heater going. I can just get in that sleeping bag and I'm just as snug as a bug in a rug and warm. Man, I'm warm in there. It's perfect. And since I've got that really soft blanket that Todd and Renee gave me, I can put that inside my sleeping bag as well, and I will just be super comfortable. But yeah, I'll be good. I appreciate the offer, though, Jim. That's very kind of you to offer to let me come in. But I prefer to stay in the van when I'm traveling. It's just, I paid a lot of money for that van. I want to sleep in it. But I do appreciate the offer. That is very kind of you. Does anybody else have anything that they want to say or ask or anything before we get off of here? I'll give you a couple of minutes to say whatever you need to say. But in the meantime, I will let everybody know that I appreciate you guys coming into my live stream tonight. Especially appreciate CG Anime Fan and my soon-to-be relative Marty, Badlands Bandit, and of course Chuck and Jim. Appreciate you guys. It's going to be fun the next 2 weeks. I'm really looking forward to it. And be sure and keep me in your prayers that the journey will be safe and that I won't have any issues. Never know what could happen. You could get in an accident or have a flat tire or anything could happen. So just keep me in your prayers that my travels are safe and that there are no issues in going out there and that I get a good, safe trip there and a safe trip back. So I will definitely be on live next Sunday at 7:30. So you guys make sure and come back and join me next Sunday for my live stream. I may have some pretty cool things to talk about next Sunday. So be sure and tune in and watch my live stream next Sunday. And also when I start producing my videos and publishing them from my trip, be sure and watch those too. Be sure and give me a like and a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, if you're watching this later. I know everybody that's on here tonight that are commenting are subscribed. But if you're not subscribed, be sure and subscribe to my channel. And if you are subscribed, if you're one of the folks on here tonight and you're subscribed, before you get off of here, hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I put up a new video. That notification bell lets you know when I put a new video out, so you'll be able to watch it right away. Badlands Bandit says, absolutely, I'll keep you in my prayers for safety and enjoyment for your trip out west and back. And Jim says, unplug that fire hazard behind you before you go. That's not a fire hazard. I mean, it's not even hot. Let's see. That's not even hot. Are you talking about the ice cream cone, or are you talking about the sign? I keep that sign running all the time. But yeah, it's not a fire hazard. It'll be fine. Thank you, Marty. Are you watching, Marty? Are you watching on the TV tonight, or are you watching on your phone? I'm curious because my brother said that he was going to be watching it if you're watching it on the TV tonight. So I just wondered if my brother got to watch tonight's live stream. Oh, you talking about that? Okay, yeah, you're right. That might be a fire hazard. So yeah, maybe I will unplug it before I leave. Thank you for looking out for me. Marty says she's watching from her phone. Okay. So tell my brother I said hello. And thank you guys again for hanging in with me for an hour and 15 minutes tonight. It was good live stream, and I will see you guys on the next live stream that I do next Sunday. I don't know if I'll still be in Quartzsite next Sunday or not. I should be. Yeah, I probably will be still in Quartzsite next Sunday, but I will definitely be doing a live stream. And so Jim says he's watching from his Apple TV and commenting on the laptop. So you're showing up as two watchers. But like I said, y'all join us. Join me next Sunday at 7:30. I will be doing another live stream from the road. And until then, you guys take care. And I love you guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.